there's a very useful way to gauge our level of consciousness or the degree of our realization, or basic realization. And that is how equal we are to life. And by this equality, I don't mean the modern sense of the word so much, but equality in terms of how we engage the world, how we react to the world or respond to the world or relate to the world and others in the world. So it can be very useful to be able to distinguish the different stages of equality. And so I'll just run through them, and they're never totally separate stages, so to speak. There's interlap and exchange, but it's more of a way to see where one might need to evolve or progress. So in that sense, very useful. So the first type of equality is termed a tamasic avoidance. And it just means there's a sense of kind of inertia, heaviness, kind of just a withdrawal, not wanting to engage in life too much. There can be an attitude of it's a bit too difficult or too much or nothing ever changes or there's no point. Kind of a wanting to pull back. And this is perfectly natural. It's a way of being. And for those who aren't ready to engage in the world in such an active or enduring way, this is fine. And what can come next is very much a kind of a ragistic endurance. It's another type of equality. And it really is an energy like that is a feeling of wanting to engage the world. A kind of heroic or adventurous energy of activity, of participation. Regardless of winning or losing, that there's pleasure and pain in life, but that we want to partake. So this very much moves us from the energy of tamas or inertia, from that avoidance of life into a kind of an up for it attitude. And again, it's a wonderful energy. It's part of our human nature. It's a quality of our instrumental nature. So then, after that, we can have what could be termed a sattvic indifference. So it's a type of equality, and it comes really when someone has seen that there's a transitory nature to the world, that things come and go, it's always changing, and there's a sign of really, you could say, just stepping back a little bit, or detachment. So that's a sattvic indifference. And then there's also an energy or an attitude or an understanding that's a type of quality that is a mystic resignation. So it comes from a belief system or our spirituality that maybe said that everything that happens is the will of God, and you resign yourself to that. You don't argue with it, you just say it's the will of God. So that's a mystic resignation. And again, it's just a way of equality with the world. So it helps you engage, relate to the world, and navigate the world. Because there's so many things that come upon us that it's how do we face them? How do we endure, so to speak? How do we go along? How do we keep going? How do we face challenge after challenge? Because there's always challenges in life, the ups and downs of life. So there are four ways of being, or four levels of equality, you could say. So then there's the fifth, and maybe you could say it's a true equality, and you could call it a soulful equality. And that really comes from the experience or realization of the oneness, that there is one self expressing itself through the many. So the one self in all. You could say the one divine permeates all the many facets or expressions here in this nature. And then we have a different type of equality. It's not based on our gunas, our nature, our belief system. It's a direct experience that all is one. And then this oneness, how do we embody that oneness? And then we're really in relation. So this one divine is expressing through this particular individual, this form, and in others. And then how do we relate to each other? So is there a basis of equality in how we relate to each other? Can I see you, that you are the one divine, the one self expressing in a different form? And that is what I would understand as soulful equality. Now, at the level of nature, there is inequality, and that can be easily seen, but that's at a surface nature, the surface appearance. And you can, appreciate as the one self expressing through every single person. But when that person is maybe acting in a very difficult way, or a violent way, or aggressive way, or controlling way, then how does that equality then inform you? The realization of oneness, or the soulful equality, does not negate the possibility for you to respond in a manner appropriate to the level of that person's nature. To the point where someone who is realized that oneness, they can even engage in battle, to engage in confronting or opposing something that's within their realm. But the difference, if they do so without hatred, because they're opposing the one divine. They do so without fear, without sadness, without despondency. So they can act appropriately on that level of human nature, but behind it is a soulful equality. So really, we can embrace the world as the one divine, a divine life. And it's a life that is evolving in expression, so to speak. And there are so many opposing forces in the world, and contrary forces, and different levels of realizations, and different beings and collectives. And they're constantly in a clash of forces. And this allows experience to really polish the soul, to, so to speak, help us realize we're not limited to our instrumental nature, our gunas, either to our tamasic qualities or rajasic or sattvic or any belief system. That we can come to a direct realization, you could say self-realization or knowledge of the self, that gives us an equality in how we partake and act in the world. Realizing the oneself doesn't mean we have to withdraw. In fact, I see that the clearer our nature is, our mind, life energies and bodies, when we're above the gunas or these qualities of our nature, that then the one divine can more easily express through us and have a greater sphere of influence in the world. So the beauty of this is every day you're getting a test of your realization. Not that you're great at it, but it's a means for you to see, where am I at? How am I responding or reacting or pulled in at the world? Do I come into more of a tamasic avoidance, a rajasic endurance, a sattvic indifference? Or do I come back to a belief system or a cultural ideation? Or do I see all as God, all as divine, all as the one Brahman? And then can that clearly express through me? And that expression can be free of karmic burden. Because if we're not operating from the level of the gunas or nature, then we're not bound in karmic action. And we can really be a fit instrument for the divine expressing itself, a clear channel, so to speak. And we can partake in the joy of that active surrender to the indwelling divine that is expressing. And is it expressing through everyone, really? But to the degree to which their gunas or their human nature can cloud that divine varies with each person. So I hope you found that helpful, and it's a wonderful topic. I hope to really revisit it, equality, and how to develop that equality. And wishing you soulful equality. Thank you.